r/rules horror. Posted by u/fluffyboy2. The Riddler in Laventowne School. Second Class, The Riddler. Part 1, The Special Class. 6 p.m., the sky has gotten dark and by that time, most students have gotten home. But weirdly, when you look from the outside of the school building, you could see a room with lights on. It was the special class. A class for students that are below average. Usually at 6 p.m., 9th grade students that are below average study in that room. The class usually lasts for 1 hour to 1 hour and a half. There aren't many students in the 9th grade that are bad at studying. The room was quite big compared to other classrooms and there are only 20 students total in that room. After months of studying, 19 students have improved and only one student is left in there. That was a girl named Laura. Laura, it has been 6 months and you are the only one still attending this class. You know that you can't just stay here until the end of the school year, right? Doing so will give you an automatic fail. The teacher asked her, holding a math book in his hand. It's just these are too hard and I've never got in the mood to study. Laura responds, while still trying to think of the answer to the math equation in her notebook. Well then. The teacher closed his book and then looked at Laura. What if I tell you a ghost story? Would that get you in the mood for studying? Laura looks up, nodding happily. Like the girls her age, she is interested in horror stories. And she was into it so much that her studying got worse over time. That's why she was in the special class. The special class was taught by many different teachers for each grade. These teachers only teach in these special classes and never teach in main classes. The reason why is because these teachers only have the basic knowledge of each subject and their jobs were to teach those basics to the students that are falling behind. The special class for 9th grade students was taught by Mr. Kevin. He mostly teaches with the information inside the book. Teachers who teach in their profession would explain more deeply. But not special classes teachers. It's a story about this school's ghost. One of many stories actually. I'll call it the Riddler because the ghost in this story is also called the Riddler. He is a ghost that preys on students who are bad at studying. If someone got invited into the other side of the school by him, that person will need to solve a specific amount of riddles before they could escape. Of course, they must solve the riddles while being chased by the Riddler. It is said that if you ever get caught by him, he will give you the most painful death and no one will remember your existence. Your screams will echo through the school at night but no one will ever hear you or see you. Though he is called the Riddler, he mostly gives questions about things you've learned so someone who paid attention in class should easily be able to get away from him. There are quite a few rules that you need to follow to avoid the Riddler. 1. The Riddler's speed increase after every 10 minutes. 1a. Always solve the riddles correctly, it will slow the Riddler down. 1b. Solving the riddles incorrectly and the Riddler will speed up. 2. You could only escape by solving the riddles correctly, so if you answered one wrong, you must try and answer it until you get it right. 3. The number of riddles will increase each time you encounter him, and you won't stop meeting him until you get out of the special class. 4. It is strictly forbidden that you take a day off from school counting since the first day you've met the Riddler. That's all of the rules. There is a way to spot him too. If you hear pen clicking noises, it means that the Riddler is close. Get away from the noise to create distance. Ting ting ting. The alarm rang from Mr. Kevin's phone, signifying that it was 7:30 p.m. and class has ended. I guess that's all for today. Now pack your stuff and go home. Laura closed her books, notebooks, putting all of her equipment inside her pencil case and then threw them all in her backpack. She stood up. Goodbye Mr. Kevin, I'll see you tomorrow. And if it's possible, can you please tell me more stories tomorrow too? Kevin smiles, looking at her. Sure, but if only you agree on studying harder. I will, see you. Bye. Laura walks to the door and opened it. She walked out but before she could fully close it. Wait. Kevin yelled from inside the room. I forgot to mention that, students in special classes that hear the story will meet the Riddler the very next day. He said with a calming tone. Laura was a little spooked by it but then she just laughed it off. Well, if I ended up meeting him, he better make me better at all of the subjects. Finally, she closed the door and headed home. But when the door was closed, she didn't see what was behind it anymore. It was a smile that looks normal at first, but the grim intention behind it wasn't. Part 2, First Day. Why are you sitting like a statue? What is this? You still haven't finished the first part of the test yet? There are only 10 minutes left. If you don't improve from now, you will fail this semester. The math teacher picked up the test paper from Laura's table, skimmed at it and then slammed it down. It was a one-period test that lasts for 45 minutes. There are only 3 parts to the test, but Laura hasn't even written her name on the paper yet. She was thinking about the story that her teacher, Mr. Kevin, has told her yesterday. I wonder if it is real. Laura walks on the dimly lit hallway, looking down on the floor. What she was wondering about is the last thing Mr. Kevin has told her before she went home. He mentioned that those in the special class who've heard about the tale of the Riddler will meet him the next day. It must be just a story to motivate me. There is no way that it's real, she muttered, and placed her hand on the knob to open the door which leads inside of the special class. And in the class, she saw a figure writing something on the board. She could only hear the sound of chalk contacting the whiteboard, and that is the only sound she noticed because that's the sound she usually hears when she first walked into the room. "Hello, Mr. Kevin," she said, but the figure was still facing its back to her. The classroom was darker than usual, so she couldn't make out the figure. "Mr." She walked close to him, but before she could even finish her sentence. Click click. The sound was faint. She didn't notice it first because the chalk hitting the whiteboard overlapped the sound. Click click. The figure dropped the white chalk on the floor, causing it to shatter and splatter around the room. And then, without a warning, the figure walks toward Laura at a high speed. Because of her reflex, she immediately pulled a table from aside to block the figure's path. "Useless," the figure said in a low voice. It was so low that even calling it a demon's voice is not wrong. Laura ran outside of the classroom, closing the door behind her. "Useless," the figure yells from behind the door, and immediately, the door was broken down. "Anyone? Someone? Help." Laura ran around the school, searching for help, but it was useless. No one stays after school at that time. She was the only student that attends special class at the time. Even if someone was there, she wouldn't even see them and they wouldn't see her. It's because now, she has been transported to the other school for hearing the story of the Riddler. As she was running, the figure behind her was also on her tail. She flew down the flight of stairs and accidentally hit someone. "Wait, someone? Who could be at the school during that time? Who are you?" A girl's voice. It sounds like the voice of someone around Laura's age. It was not familiar to Laura. "I see the situation you are in. It seems that big trouble has attached itself to you. I could try helping you, but currently, I'm not that strong. Mostly because not many people know about my rules yet. If you manage to make more students around the school know about me, I will pay you back by helping you. He is getting closer, so I don't have much time. Try and survive for today, I'm sure you know how." The girl then walks away from Laura, who was still holding her head from the dizziness she got from hitting it against the mysterious girl. She didn't have time to think, so she stood up and continued to run. She ran across classroom after classroom. Finally, she got to the front entrance. What on earth? The front entrance was different. There were multiple locks attached to it. Physics doesn't seem to apply to the locks. Laura turned around and saw the figure getting closer to her. She ran mindlessly, not thinking about where she should go. Not long after, she got to a hallway on the first floor. A chemistry question? On the wall was a chemistry question. It was an easy one that Laura should be able to solve it with ease. Out of all of the subjects, chemistry was the subject Laura is the best at. She thinks of the answer in her head and then said it quietly. Suddenly, the text on the wall shines brightly and it shifted to the shape of a key that landed in Laura's hand. She could go back to the front entrance to use the key on the locks, but it was too risky. The figure was coming from that direction. Just as she thought so, she finally saw the figure after it made a turn in her direction. It was a little bit slower than when it first chases Laura. She ran in circle on the first floor and has finally reached the front entrance. There were 3 locks. She used the key on one of the locks and the lock immediately evaporated like water, so was the key. She finally realized how to get out of the place. She ran upstairs to the second floor and went around the second floor hallway until she found a text on a wall. It looks the same as the one on the first floor, but the question was different. A math question. Again, it was easy. She solved it with a little bit of thinking and obtained a key. She did the same with a question that appeared on the third floor, a physics question. After that, she has got the last 2 keys. Click click. She suddenly hears clicking from downstairs. It was the sound that tells the Riddler was coming closer to her. Logically, she ran to the other staircase, but unfortunately for her, a door was blocking her way to go down. It was a dead end. Shit. She looks around, but there was no way out, until she saw that there was a space which she could use to jump down. It was the space that is between the door and the staircase which lead upstairs. That space was small, but Laura could easily fit herself through it and jump down. Without hesitation, she climbed up the little wedge and threw herself downstairs. Crack. She used her arm to lower the impact that would be caused on her legs and body. It snapped, leaving her in intense pain. It was only her left arm, so she could still use her right arm. She made her way downstairs and to the front entrance. Using her right arm, she took a key out from her right pocket and unlocked a lock. Then the second key for the last lock. With one push, the door finally swung open and Laura has successfully escaped from the school. Standing from behind, a man was watching her, clicking his pen. He was wearing a smile on his face, and his clothing was an old-style type, like it doesn't fit in modern days. Ha ha ha, good job on getting out. But it won't be so easy for you the next day. The man said so and then looked over to a corner of the hallway. You aren't planning to use her to gain more power and then take my prey away from me, aren't you? Whisper. Then, from that dark corner, a girl's voice replied back. I'm not going to make her my own prey, I'm offering her a chance of escape if she could make my existence being more acknowledged by the students in the school. But that still depends if she could survive your basic questions that an average student could easily answer. Well, it seems like you have underestimated me. I don't care about the questions being hard or easy, I will slowly corner her through the power of number. Each day, the number of questions will increase by 3. And when it has reached high enough, her brain will be too tired to think. My old prey barely passed the number 21 and they all died when it reached 24 questions. Is that so? Then we'll see if she can get my help first or if she will be captured by you first. And then in the pitch black school, 2 laughters from 2 unknown entities ran through the empty hallways.